guys, I am Kelly. This is my channel Incredible Anyway, where I talk about how to live an incredible life no matter what your circumstances are. This video is a follow-up video to the series that I did talking about going on my first date after my marriage ended and I had a divorce. And so I wanted to just kind of update you guys because I realized I never really told you after that night of going on that really wonderful date how it went. How did it go with the guy? Did I continue to date him? How has it been? Because that was filmed several months ago. So if you haven't watched that video, I will link it in the iCard and in the description. Go ahead and watch that first because I'm gonna be referring to it. Something that I didn't get to mention, or I didn't mention in that last video, I was worried about sitting and my stamina sitting. I sat for a very long time. It was very hard on me. The next day, my abs were hurting. They were just really, really painful, and I wasn't able to do much the next day. I did have to go to my IV infusions, so that was hard. But thankfully, I can kind of recline in those chairs, but I was really, really hurting. As I said at the end of that video, I really needed to think about and decide what I was going to do, if I was going to go on a date with that guy. And I was kind of saying, like, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do yet. And I think anybody can sleep on their decision. But personally, I wanted to explain why I was having really hard time really knowing what I wanted to do at the time. So as a part of one of my health issues, I have a really hard time processing what other people are saying. And by that, I mean that I can hear somebody ask me a question, but I hear the words, but my brain doesn't make sense of what those words mean. So I could repeat the words back even sometimes, but I have to actually think about what do those things actually mean. I've not always had this problem, and it's hard because my brain just works slower than other people's do. It happens with everybody, really. But when I'm in a doctor's office, my mom has been with me in appointments, and she's like, I see it happen. She said, I watch you have a hard time understanding what the doctor just said to you. I could hear the things, but it takes my brain a while to figure out what was said. I mean, there will be times when I'll leave an appointment and I'll be driving home and I'll go, oh, that's what the doctor meant. Oh, it just takes a while for my brain to work through it. And so that's why I think after being on a date for 4 hours with this guy, I was just so overwhelmed. I could not make sense of anything. And that's why I said I need to sleep on it. I really need to work this out in my brain. I had a gut feeling, but I wanted to make sure my gut feeling was actually what I was thinking, what I was deciding. So sleeping on it and thinking about it and praying about it really was helpful for me. And I'm glad that I gave myself that. What I ended up deciding, and I'll talk to you through about how I decided this. I ended up deciding to not go on another date with him. I had such a great time. He was very considerate. There were so many things that went well. He was so nice. He was so considerate. He really was very, very much wanted me to see that I wasn't being seen for my disability, that he was seeing me. He was very much a listener. He was engaging. He was very open with his emotions. I mean, there were so many things, tick, 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 all these boxes that I'm looking for in a man that he was ticking. He was very empathetic and we share faith. It was great. But there were two things that were really big for me that were missing. And before I ever started going on dates, I kind of made these lists for myself, and just so that I was aware of what I myself wanted. And they're kind of like red flag, yellow flag, green flag things. So green flags obviously things that I want, things that I think are great that I want in a relationship and a man. And red flags would be things that I absolutely cannot tolerate, do not pass go, do not collect $200, we will not date. And yellow flags would be things that I think, I need to look into that further. I need to think about that further. I really need to weigh this out. And so this guy had one red flag for me, And that was the first reason why I decided not to go on a date with him. And that was because he was very newly divorced and newly out of his marriage. He had been divorced for 2 months, and the marriage had ended only 3 months before. He had wanted his marriage to continue. He didn't want it to end. And the very first thing when he sat down at the table that he talked about was his ex-wife. He talked about a lot about his ex-wife. He talked a lot about his relationship that had just ended. And I am totally fine talking about that. I'm an open person. I don't mind talking about things like that. I felt like that was a very friendly conversation to have, but the amount that he had talked about it was extensive. It was such a good portion of what we talked about during those 4 hours that it really showed me that while he has a lot of qualities that I'm looking for in a person, it's also really important the timing. Somebody needs to be at a time in their life where they have worked through their past hurts. I think that healing from hurt is really important. I think the process is important. The second reason that was a big reason of why I didn't want to go on a second date with him was because there was no chemistry. I felt like I was on a date with my uncle, and I hated that. And, I think that if there hadn't been that first reason, if there wasn't that red flag of he hasn't worked through his former relationship, I think I probably would have gone on a second date to see if maybe it just was an off night, maybe chemistry could develop. But I think chemistry is really important for obvious reasons. Even if everything else aligns, if there's not chemistry, an important part of a connection, of a relationship, is intimacy and physical affection. For me, one of my top love language is physical touch. I'm just not willing to compromise on that. I would rather be alone than be in a relationship that is devoid of physical touch. And even if every other box was clicking, I would rather that person be my friend. Like I said, I prayed about it. I thought about it a lot. And the very next day, I texted him because that's how we were communicating. And I told him, well, I'll tell you what I told him. I said, "Hi, thank you again for dinner and good conversation last night. I have thought about it and prayed about it a lot, and I don't think this is going to work out or that we should go on another date. I really appreciated your time and getting to know you, but God isn't leading me in that direction. You are a good man of God with a good heart, and I know God will lead you to the lady He has planned for you. It was really nice meeting you." And he wrote me back and said, "You too, thank you for being honest and forthright." And I think that it's really important when you tell somebody that you're not interested in them, that you are direct. It's not easy to tell somebody that you're not interested, but I think making sure that you do tell them that is always important. So where am I today? That first date was filmed at the end of July, so it's been many months since I have gone on a date. Unfortunately, as I've mentioned in my life update, my health update videos, less than a week after that, I started getting severe Meniere's attacks, and my health has been really poor. Up until recently, you guys know I wasn't even putting out YouTube videos because I wasn't able to respond to comments. And, even with my friends and family, really wasn't being able to be present. It really wasn't a question of whether or not I could continue connecting with men. I didn't have anything to give. I didn't have any even conversation to give. It's certainly something that I absolutely want to do. I am very happy and content where I am right now. I'm very, very happy in my life. I know that relationships make life complicated and make life, it's a time commitment on your life, although I think they're completely worth it. I frankly really miss being in a relationship. I miss having a companion. I miss being able to do life with somebody and experience those little things that happen every day and those big things that happen every day, and doing it together and being able to support somebody in their life and encourage them and love on them. I love people so much, and just being able to love on somebody and hug somebody. I feel like my poor dog Benny has been so hugged because I'm I'm just, my love language is physical touch. Like, I just love to hug people. I'm a hugger. And so I'm missing it. I'm really missing it. I have a lot of other things that I'd love to talk with you guys about. If you have any requests for me about what you want me to talk about, like whether it be, you know, post-divorce and dating or chronic illness and disability in dating, please let me know. I have a lot of stories about being on dating apps, but you know, like I think everybody does. Thank you guys so much for watching. I am Kelly. Remember, you are not alone. Go find your incredible anyway. I'll see you guys in my next video. Love you all. Bye.
I'm just having a good time, having a